Alright, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. We got the one, the only, up-and-coming rising star. We got James the Juggernaut live on the line. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great, man. First of all, man, I gotta say it's good to have you on here, man. I'm loving this new Get The Gringo record, man. It's absolutely phenomenal, bro. You have a masterpiece on your hands.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome, man. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your career, man. Like, actually, what made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
I've been musically inclined since I was about 13 years old. I'm 26 now, so over a decade, almost a decade and a half of doing music. I used to rap under a different name when I was younger, and it just didn't really work out. I got signed to a record label when I was 18. Album flopped. The guys I was with, they weren't really about music. They were just about doing dumb stuff. And yeah, man, I took an absence from music, but yeah, I came back to it this last year. I'm a promoter, Rich Lifestyle Promotions. Me and my boy Rich Ramos. We do Rich Lifestyle Promotions up here. We brought a lot of big acts. And this last year, I'm like, you know what, man? While I'm still here in my 20s, in my mid to late 20s, why don't I try making music again, man? Because I feel like I understand a formula, especially where I live, and I feel like I can rise the ranks. And not only that, I pride myself to try to make the best records I can make.
And man, when you're actually on the topic of Rich Lifestyle Promotions family, man, I have to ask you, what's the story behind that promotional company, man? And of course, how did yourself and the other guys get connected, man? Because, being a promoter is tough work, man. It's sometimes even tougher than being an actual artist yourself.
Absolutely. You hit it on the nail. Well, Rich used to go by a different name as well. He was affiliated, gang affiliated when we were younger. He's a little older than I am. So he was kind of like my big homie. He got me out of my grandma's house and got me into listening to music, listening to a lot of Chicano rap and partying and and stuff like that. But he always had my best interest, even though all his homeboys were in and out of prison and slinging jale is what we call it over here, which is like dope. He's listening right now. He's like, man, you're putting the business out there. But I went through all that with him, and obviously we separated because I moved out from Yakima, which is our hometown. Moved to Spokane, Washington, and Post Falls, Idaho for a while. And I was like, hey, man, I'm coming back. You know what I'm saying? Came back for family and stuff like that, and just to see what Yakima was like again. And I was like, I really want to do this with you. He was always a hustler, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, dude, he was hustling in the streets. I was managing a club at the time. I was like, I understand this music game a little bit, and I think you and I can do this together. So we started doing Rich Lifestyle Promotions. 2019. April was our first show with Carolyn Rodriguez, the wife of SPN, if you're familiar with him, from Houston, Texas. And yeah, man, we did Kurt Cobain's Devour, Yellow Beezy, Mr. Criminal. Did a Dope House Records meet and greet in 2020. This year we got a couple more meet and greets and some shows, and so that's how it came to be, man. Just two cats who've known each other for 10 plus years, and figured if we're still relatively young and still have the ambition to do this, so why not?
Hey, man, most definitely. When you said you actually booked some huge concerts, man, like, what are some of the acts you actually brought to your hometown?
Like I said, man, Kurt Cobain's Devour, Yellow Beezy, Mr. Criminal, Kelly Rodriguez. Yeah, man, those were our major ones. And then, this last year we did a meet and greet. This next year we're doing Damian Chapa, Miklo from Blood and Blood Out. He's an actor. And then we're going to be doing a Latin Fest, hopefully this summer, with a bunch of big names that I can't disclose yet because we don't know exactly who we're bringing. We have an idea. And then we're bringing Brother Lynch Hung and Xrated as well.
Yeah, I heard about that Xrated and Brother Lynch Hung were supposed to do a big USA worldwide tour, man, but unfortunately due to COVID-19, they actually got it got canceled, unfortunately, man, which actually sucks. That sounds like a phenomenal concert.
Yeah. I think it would have done well. The market of where we're at is mostly Hispanic, Chicano, Mexican, whatever. So there's only a certain amount like it's not limited where we're at, but it is as far as like if you're gonna bring somebody like a Brother Lynch Hung, you gotta understand your market. But in Yakima, we do have a big old school, gangsta vibe like fan base of like people who still listen to that kind of stuff. So we thought, you know what, these people would love to see this, because he's more than just gangster rap. He was connected with Strange Music for quite some time. Did like 3 records with him, I believe. And so there's a lot of Tech Nine fans out here as well, which surprised me growing up. This Tech would come out here and sell out 3,000-4,000 people in a little stadium or something. So yeah, I think Lynch and Xrated, once COVID dies down and we're able to actually execute that show, I think it'll do well.
And also, man, when we're going back to like the whole Chikino rap type stuff, man, you sent me a message yesterday telling me that you were actually, of course, you're a white guy, obviously, but you actually grew up around like a lot of grew up in the Mexican area, man. I was wondering, did individuals ever give you a hard time, like you being white, growing up with around Latinos?
Yeah, man. I love that question. I haven't been asked that yet. Yeah, dude, I used to get beat up a lot. I went to Washington Middle School. And I don't come from a poor background. I come from, middle class. Grandparents worked, had a business. So, I'm not from the hood. I lived in the hood. I lived in the hood as an adult because of my life choices, so I understand the struggle. But, but they knew that, kid come in, brand new video games and shit like that. And what's up, everybody? And, I was getting popped in my mouth and people taking my shit. And I was like, what's going on, guys? Like, I thought we were all friends. But, it's just, it was ignorance. But I developed some friendships and developed an understanding of where I was at, because we moved because my grandparents opened up a new business. So they opened up that new business. I went to the east side of Yakima. The east side of Yakima, it's hitting out here. And, and it's just what it was. But I developed friendships and I developed a thick skin. And, it was I've never been a racist individual, never, nothing like that, but I did have some resentment when I went to school, and that kind of turned around once I, met my business partner, Rich, and, he showed me, hey, man, we're not all, like, gunning for you just because you're white, but you be kicking it with us, man, you gotta kick it with us, you gotta act a certain way, man, and so, once I got past all that negativity, I fell in love with Chicano rap, I fell in love with the Chicano lifestyle, man, lowriders. I've always wanted a lowrider. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always preferred, brown or black women. You know what I mean? It's just like, even though it was a negative introduction, it was a beautiful end result.
And man, also, I saw a video on your Instagram that I have to touch base on, man, because everybody at one point in their life, they have at least vibed to Ice Ice Baby at least once in their life. I don't care who you are. You have to admit at least one time you were like, you know what, I fuck with this song. I saw a video with yourself and Vanilla Ice, man. Like, what was it like meeting Vanilla Ice, man? And of course, dude, like, what was it like just chopping it up and being able to hang out with him?
Well, here's the thing. As a white rapper, like, Eminem's, always been my guy, always will be. I love lyrical rap. Excuse me, try not to burp. Love lyrical rap. But people like, Beastie Boys, Vanilla Ice, MC Flash, a lot of these white artists who paved the way, man, it's an honor because Ice Ice Baby, even in Eminem's time, for him to sell 10 million records, that's good, on an album. But go 10 years back because he came out in 99. So for Vanilla Ice to sell 100 million copies of one album, you know what I mean? That's like Drake getting 1 billion views. You know what I mean? So it's like he's in his 50s. He's 52 years old now. So for him to have that lineage, and when he came out here, he sold out. We had a Shanti and Ja Rule. We had our competitors bring the Shanti and Ja Rule out that same night, and Vanilla Ice sold out more. He sold more tickets than the Shanti and Ja Rule. We didn't bring the show. Everybody thought we did because we were on this high rise of being promoters. But it was actually the casino out here, Legends Casino. And shout out to them, man, because that was a great experience. But to meet him and tell him that I rapped and, that I was doing promotions and he gave me a shout out. And, I'm not going to lie, we kind of built off that cloud a little bit because, everybody thought, James is the white guy, he's the gringo. He must have brought Vanilla Ice because we were bringing big acts at that time. And it was just a cool day, man. It was amazing to meet somebody that I've genuinely thought was a icon to myself, and it was an amazing experience. It was extraterrestrial almost, to meet somebody like that.
And also, I noticed you as well, you actually did a collaboration with an individual by the name of Mr. Rags on the track Dope City Hustlers. I was wondering, how did yourself and Rags get connected? And of course, where can our listeners snag themselves a copy of that single today?
So Dope City Hustlers is on SoundCloud currently. As we've spoken previously, the rest of my album is being worked on getting distribution. So it'll be on iTunes, Spotify, all those other platforms in about 2 weeks. Yeah, man, me and Mr. Rags, man, Rags is OG out here in Yakima, man. He's worked with artists like Baby Bash, SPM, Traded Truth, E40, Snoop Dogg. He was a big artist in the early 2000s here in Yakima. He did the Sun Dome, which is like a stadium that I believe holds like between 7,500 and 15,000 people. I don't know the exact number, but he sold out that with Baby Bash and a couple other guys. I forget the other guys. Back in the day, and I met him when I was 13 years old when I was going to Washington Middle School. And my buddy's like, "Hey man, if we're gonna rap, my dad knows this guy, and he's the biggest thing out of Yakima. When you're young like that, and you have a love for music, you're like, well, hey man, I'm from Yaks, he's from Yaks, and you might as well go check this out." So I went over there and I checked it out, and I didn't care. Yeah, Baby Bash with him. They pull up. Are you familiar with Baby Bash, correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I interviewed him last year.
Oh hell yeah. So imagine being this little white kid, right? And Baby Bash pulls up. I didn't give a fuck about Baby Bash. I'm like, I heard the song Cyclone back when Cyclone was popping up. I didn't give a fuck about that. I wanted to meet Mr. Rags because Mr. Rags to me was the biggest rapper out of Yakima because he had a CD out, and I didn't know anybody who did. I was also a little kid, but yeah, man, it was just being a fan, and and he's gone through some struggles that I'm not going to speak on because that's not my business. But Rags and I, we got a good relationship, man, and I got love for him. You know what I'm saying? He keeps me connected in the streets. He keeps me solid, and he's just a dope individual, man. He's a good person. He's a good person dealing with some demons right now, but I got love for him, man, and I wish him nothing but the best. And we got more records coming out, man. Yeah.
Hey, that's dope, man. And I gotta say, no offense to your guy Rags there, man, but I gotta admit, I'd choose Baby Bash over Rags, man. I've been a huge Baby Bash fan since Cyclone dropped, man. I don't even give a shit. That's my jam, bro.
No, absolutely. But see, the thing is that social media wasn't as popping in the early 2000s, so I didn't know who the fuck. I knew the song, but I didn't know who Baby Bash was. I didn't know his face. So when he pulled up, like I knew who he was, but I didn't. If it makes sense, like I didn't know him as much as I knew Rags because of, what I'm saying, like the like what I knew of him previously from the neighborhood and what people would tell me about him. I didn't get that same praise from Baby Bash from the neighborhood. I got that from Mr. Rags because he was from our city. That's why I cared more about meeting him.
And also, man, I actually saw a video on your Facebook of yourself and Corrupt of the Dog Pound, man. I was wondering, can you tell us a story behind that video? And of course, what was it like actually meeting Corrupt?
Well, to be honest, I haven't met Corrupt, but he did do me a video shout out. We got a song out called "I'm Back" featuring my boys Enemy DCA, Vincent 509. I knew a producer who was cutting deals for artists and shit. I was like, "Hey man, who you got?" He said he had Corrupt. I was like, "Well, hey man, I need to make sure it's legitimate." So he hooked me up, got me the verse, got me the video drop, and I was like, "All right, man, fucking, let's do it." And got that blessing from Corrupt, man. So shout out to Corrupt. Again, that's on the Get The Gringo album song called "I'm Back," with 2 C's because I got 2 Crips on there. Yeah, man, a lot of love to Corrupt, man. I can't wait for COVID to die down and maybe we'll go down there and shoot a video to California.
Hey, man, that actually sounds good, man. California's, I've never been there myself, man, but it's always a beautiful spot, man. Have you ever had the opportunity to go to California at all?
I lived in Sacramento, but I was younger. I wasn't as fine-tuned in the way that I approach people, so I ended up getting beat up and robbed out there. But I think that was my fault because I was out there doing dumb shit. So, but yeah, Sacramento was nice. Other than that, man, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, palm trees, and Palm Spring vibes, and bitches running around in booty shorts, and yeah, it was nice.
And also, January 1st of this year, you actually held a listening party for your album Get The Gringo. I have to ask you, man, can you tell us a little bit more about your brand new album? And of course, when it does get distributed worldwide, where can our listeners snag themselves a copy?
Yeah, we went live January 1st on Facebook. We had, collectively now that everybody's able to watch it, I mean, I'm sure it has like thousands of views now. That night alone, we had, it said overall we had about 4,000 views, which I doubt 4,000 people tuned in. Realistically, maybe 500 to 1,000 because we had quite a bit of people sharing the links and stuff like that. But I mean, that was an amazing experience. Cost me quite a bit of money, but you know what I'm saying. If you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will invest in you. So shout out to Yakima Reclaim for letting me use their spot. Shout out to my boy DJ Earn, Big Earn, for showing me love and hooking me up as a DJ. And yeah, man, I put on a lot of locals, a lot of guys who were on my records, a lot of guys who were not on my records, just because I just felt it was the right thing to do. And we had a great experience. But yeah, man, the album comes out. It's out now on SoundCloud and YouTube. But full distribution will probably be here in a couple of weeks. Like I said, I'm wrapping up one more track that I'm going to put out for everybody. I'm going to slap it together. Still working on my back cover because it's all hand drawn. My boy Illustrator Minati, he's doing it for me. He did my front cover, and so we took the images of like the homies, the little cartoons from back in the day, and we made ourselves homies. And so he's a professional illustrator, so he's going through and making the back cover for me. So once that's done, and my last track is done, which I should have it done tonight or tomorrow, yeah, man, I'll send it out for distribution and start getting those CDs ordered.
Most definitely, man. I gotta ask you, where can our listeners actually get themselves a hard copy when they are available? Like, do they have to go to your website, or do they just hit you up directly via social media?
They can hit me up directly via social media, or they can go to the website, www.richlifestylepromotions.com. It's really outdated right now. I gotta update it. But yeah, they'll be able to order it preferably from me, but I'll have an option on the website.
But I have to ask you, man, what is next for James the Juggernaut, man? Like, did I miss anything during this interview? Any new projects that's coming out, of course, after you drop Get The Gringo? Like, anything else you want to promote? We still have you here live worldwide?
Yeah, man, for everybody who doesn't know, well, nobody knows, so it's everybody. I got a interview and front cover issue with Chicano Life magazine, which will be coming out in February. I have my music video Memories with Mr. Rags coming out later this month, and we're going to be debuting that on Hustletown Network, which is a huge platform down in Texas. They also do promotions and shows for artists and stuff like that, and interviews. And I'm going to be lining up an interview with Say Cheese TV, if anybody's familiar with them. They're a massive YouTube network, almost 1 million subscribers, and they've interviewed people like the Migos, Soulja Boy, this Gucci Man, a whole bunch of guys, Mo3, Yellow Beezy, more or less down south artists. But yeah, they agreed to do an interview with me once I get a little bit more clout, so probably once the magazine drops and my numbers are up. So I'll be getting that interview hopefully this year. To promote the record. And right now, dude, we're just working on making sure our events for Rich Lifestyle happens. And my boy Rich Ramos, who's also a part of Rich Lifestyle, of course, he'll be working on some records, so I'll be helping him in his promotions. And yeah, man, we're just trying to Get The Gringo as big as we can, and maybe even eventually start working on a new record. But I put a lot of money into this, a lot of time into this, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to make this happen. So I'm not exactly in the mode to jump to start recording a new record, but I want to make sure I get the most out of this first, and everybody hears this project before I move on to the next. And that's just going to be a whole year of shows and PR.
And also, man, directly after this interview, I'm going to be playing your song from your newest record, Get The Gringo, by the name of Memories, that you actually brought up. They have a video coming out. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a little bit more about that song. That way when they hear it, potentially for the first time, they can wrap their head around the meaning just a little bit more.
So Memories was a record that was intentionally for somebody else. but I just felt that Rags would do a good verse on it, and he did. It's just us representing ourselves in Yakima. You know, we shot it in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And we shot at my boy's barbershop, Faded Times barbershop here in Yakima, Washington. Shout out to my boy Got Gifted. He also mixed and mastered most of my records as well in this project, and he owns the barbershop. We shot some scenes there as well, man. The record is kind of self-explanatory. You know, we're talking about ourselves, we're talking about our friends, you know, our lifestyle, whatever. And you know, the video's kind of grimy. It's kind of old school. I mean, great picture quality. Shout out to my boy Nacho and my boy Nestor. They're the ones who shot the video, so it'll be coming out in a couple weeks. But yeah, man, it's going to be a great project to be able to release that video. Like I said, we got a big network that's going to help us push it. So on top of my records getting pushed on our own actual YouTube channel, we're branching out and getting on a couple other platforms just to get our names out there. Yeah.
So, James, this is the time in the interview, right before we wrap things up, that I give a chance for the individual that slides into the radio station airwaves. There's a chance to give shoutouts to whomever they want to give shoutouts to. And, of course, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything James the Juggernaut if they're not already doing so.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to everybody. I'm live on Facebook. Shout out to everybody listening, everybody watching. Shout out to my boy Rich Ramos, Mr. Rags, God Gifted, everybody. Hey, man, shout out to everybody. I made a GoFundMe to help me out. You know, everything going on with America. Not everybody got a stimulus check yet, and I haven't received mine yet, so I'll probably have to get my taxes. That's neither here nor there, but I was kind of counting on that cash to help me out with distribution and stuff, and a lot of people chipped in, man. My goal was like $250, and I raised well over double that, and so I'm able to get a lot of merchandise and CDs and stuff. So I wanted to say thank you to the fans, man. Thank you to everybody who actually tuned in, showed me a lot of love, and you know, made it possible for me to get my record going, and you know, be able to do what I need to do as far as an artist and promote myself. So I want to thank all those individuals. You know, I can't name everybody, but everybody, a lot of people chipped in, man, a lot more than I thought would. You know, and it was an amazing surprise, and I appreciate them, you know, forever for that.
And of course, man, if you can, drop them social media handles. Like, that way our listeners can shoot you a follow.
For sure, man. You can follow me on Instagram, at James the Juggernaut. Regular, you know what I'm saying? It's not the Juggernaut or nothing like that. On Facebook, James Juggernaut 509. And I don't really use Twitter, so you don't got to follow me on Twitter. Like I said, we got a website. Excuse me. www.richlifestylepromotions.com. Make sure you guys go check that out. I'll be updating it here this next month. It's pretty old as far as what's been on there, but yeah.
Most definitely. I got to say, James, thank you so much for taking over the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM radio station airwaves. Hope you have yourself a wonderful afternoon and, of course, a wonderful night, and hopefully we'll be in touch soon, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Immortal.
Have yourself a wonderful day.
You too, bro.